While the papers will spend many hours writing about who has won and lost this past weekend, the greatest loss belongs to the residents of Johannesburg and those who saw these arrangements as a brighter future for our country. Our multi-party coalition in Johannesburg achieved enormous feats in the past 3 years against all odds. Different political parties have put aside their differences and found common ground in the interest of our residents. This was possible because local government is a space where ideology matters less than service delivery. And ultimately, this is what our 5 million residents needed most. I'm also pleased to be leaving the city in a significantly healthier financial position. We ended 2018-2019 financial year with 5.3 billion rands in cash reserves and a sinking fund valued at 2.7 billion rands. This translates into 43 days worth of cash coverage, double the 21 days we closed on in the previous financial year, as all of you are aware. The significant reserves were not at the expense of service delivery, with the city spending 91.3% of its capital budget in the 2018-2019 financial year. I also believe that when the Auditor General releases his report at the end of November, this will result in improved audit outcomes for the city of Johannesburg. Our cutting back on frivolous expenditure through concerted austerity measures allowed us to increase the percentage of capital budget spend on engineering infrastructure and housing from 58% in 2016 when we took over to 71% in 2019, our current financial year. Arising from this, there's been a reduction of power outages in the homes of Johannesburg residents from 6.1 to 5.6 per household per annum. Our program of water pipeline replacements have reduced the number of leaks and bursts by over 4,000 per year, saving this precious commodity and reducing our losses. Over 900 kilometers of roads have been resurfaced out of the 4,000 of kilometers that lay poor and in very poor conditions. We have stabilized collapsing bridges, which have posed enormous threats to motorists across our city, most notably with the M2 freeway, which will be reopened in the first week of November. We have made major inroads in the billing crisis in Johannesburg, a program that existed for nearly 20 years. The number of queries every month has come down significantly. The backlogs have been reduced and the average time to resolve queries has been halved. Facilitated investment in the city has ballooned to 400% of where it stood when I entered office in 2016, rising from 4.5 billion rands in 2015-2016 to 17.3 billion rands in 2018-2019. For the first time in the history of this metro, business has been brought on board as a partner rather than an adversary, unleashing the private sector's potential to assist the city in addressing many of its challenges. We have extended the operating hours of 20 clinics across the city, which now operate late into the night and over weekends. Hundreds of patients have received life-saving treatment after hours, and mobile clinics now take the services to communities situated far from primary healthcare facilities. Under this multi-party government, the city's first free substance abuse facilities have been rolled out, with 5 now operating in communities most heavily afflicted by addiction. The Inner City project stands poised to transform the skyline of Johannesburg, with 139 properties awarded for development and construction beginning in the first term right now as we speak. Last week, Council approved the expropriation of 37 abandoned factories across the city, with the potential to produce heavy housing yields by virtue of the size of the stands. 16 of these are situated around Alexander, where the need of such initiatives are sorely needed. Our forensic unit, established under the leadership of General Sibia, has set the standard in the fight against corruption and wrongdoing, with over 6,000 cases under investigation, totaling more than 35 billion rands in expenditure. This unit has managed hundreds of arrests and dismissals of corrupt city officials. Our diversification of housing has seen the rollout of the largest site and service project in the history of the city, with more than 4,000 service stands due in this financial year alone. We have waged a war on the dignity of residents living without services in informal settlements, bringing more electricity and water to these communities than ever before. The city is close to welcoming 1,500 new JMPD officers who have been undergoing training since we initiated this recruitment in 2017. This will represent a 50% increase in the size of the JMPD force and greatly assist our efforts to bring law and order to the streets of our city of Johannesburg. In addition, our specialized K9 narcotics unit, another first in Johannesburg, is currently waging war against drug dealers. In many ways, the most emotional and difficult part of what has transpired in the DA is that I will not be able to see some of these programs through to their finality. I'm fully aware that the DA constitution entitles the party to terminate my membership immediately following this announcement. That is their right. However, it is my hope that I will be allocated to see my work through to the end of November because there are many pressing matters that must be finalized. Tomorrow, as some of you might be aware, I'm due to appear before the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Home Affairs, which arises from my request for such an audience. I will be there to present how the city of Johannesburg and its residents are severely impacted by failing Home Affairs Department and its ability to protect the borders of our country. Next week, I will be lodging our court papers against the NPA to pave the way towards the private prosecution of those who have stolen from our residents and have been protected by the South African Police Services and the NPA. Also, on the 30th of November, I'm due to hold the event to reopen the M1 following the extensive and emergency bridge repairs that have inconvenienced motorists since the beginning of this year. It remains the choice of the DA whether we'll get to see these projects through to finality. But it is my hope that I can be afforded the dignity of ensuring that nobody can reverse these very difficult gains. Ladies and gentlemen, serving as the mayor of Johannesburg has been the toughest job anyone can possibly undertake. I often joke with staff that saying to you that this gift job, you only give it to someone you dislike. It has, however, been the greatest honor of my life. I'm very much a human being and will be the first one to admit that I make mistakes. When human beings are trying to achieve enormous feats of change, they will always make mistakes. However, I live with my head held high, knowing that I've been honest, I've fought for the residents of the city, and I've taken every decision with their interest at heart rather than my own. I would like to thank my coalition partners who are here today, including the EFF, for their dedication to the work of delivering the dignity of change to our residents. I regret more than you that you will ever know that we will not get to see out this term of office together. Finally, and most importantly, I'd like to thank the residents of Johannesburg for this great honor. And I'd really like to say thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I've achieved many things in my 60 years, but nothing will ever bring me the pride and joy of seeing our residents benefiting from the dignity of service delivery they have been denied over so many years by the ANC government over the last 25 years, including pre-1994, 300 years of colonial rule, including apartheid rule since 1948. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for really giving me this honor to really serve the city. And also, my money, thank you so much for this privilege and this honor from the DA for affording me this opportunity. Thank you.